One day, while I was cleaning up dry grass in my homestead, I noticed a small, straggly-looking plant poking out of the ground. Upon closer inspection, I realized that it was a strawberry plant. It looked like it had been neglected for some time, so I decided to take action and try to rescue it. So when I found those little strawberry plants, the soil around them was really dry and hard. I knew I had to do something to loosen it up before I could even think about transplanting them to a better spot. So I grabbed a hose and gave the soil a good soaking with water. I figured this would help to soften it up and make it easier to dig around the roots. Once I had watered the soil, I got to work carefully digging around the roots of the plants. It was a bit of a challenge since the dirt was still pretty hard, but I didn't want to damage the roots by being too rude. Finally, after a bit of effort, I was able to put the little plants out of the ground. It was such a relief to see that they were still intact and ready to be replanted in a better spot. But before I could plant them, I needed to prepare the soil. I grabbed my rake and got to work. I carefully cleared away any debris or rocks from the area, making sure to create a nice, clean space for the plants to be planted in. I knew that weeds and grass could easily overtake the area and compete with the plants for nutrients, so I decided to take preventive measures. I headed to the local market and picked up black agrofiber. This material is perfect for preventing the growth of weeds and grass, and it's easy to use. So I was trying to lay down some agrofiber in my garden. I had everything all set up and ready to go, but then the wind picked up and started blowing the agrofiber all over the place. It was a real pain to try and get it under control, but I finally managed to get it done. After struggling with the wind for a while, I used some homemade clips to secure the agrofiber to the ground. It was a bit of a challenge to get everything just right, but with some effort and patience, I was able to get the agrofiber secured in place, even with the wind still blowing. It was a great feeling to know that I had overcome the wind and successfully installed the agrofiber, all thanks to those homemade clips. So then it was time to plant my strawberries. I dug holes that were wide enough to fit the plant's roots and deep enough to keep the plants at the same depth as they were before. I also spaced the plants out so they had plenty of room to grow. This is important because if they are too close together, they can end up competing for resources like water and nutrients. You might think that this work is boring and takes a long time, but for me it was actually pretty meditative. I found it really enjoyable to plant each and every strawberry bush. There is something really satisfying about getting your hands in the soil and watching your plants take root. So, if you are feeling discouraged or like it's taking too long, just remember that it's all worth it in the end. After I finished planting, I gave my strawberries a good watering to settle the soil around the roots. I made sure to keep the soil moist but not overly water it, as my plants got used to their new home. It's been about a week since I planted my strawberries, and we've been having a lot of cloudy and cold days. I was a bit worried about whether the plants would settle in well to their new spot, but I'm happy to say that all of them, except for one, seem to be doing great. In fact, some of them are even sprouting new crops already. One of my friends suggested that I cover the strawberries with white microfiber to protect them from the bad weather and keep the moisture from evaporating. It lets the sunlight through while still keeping the plants warm and cozy. Initially, I covered my strawberries with white agrofiber, but then I started to worry about how black agrofiber might impact their crops. So, to be on the safe side, I decided to remove any excess fabric. I didn't want to take any chances and accidentally mess up their growth process. I am pleasantly surprised by how well my strawberries are doing. It's always a bit nervous when you transplant plants, but I'm glad to see that they're adapting well to their new home. In the end, I was glad I had taken the time to rescue those little strawberry plants. It was a small act, but it made a big difference. Who knows, maybe one day I'll be enjoying a delicious bowl of freshly picked strawberries, all thanks to that chance encounter in my homestead. Fingers crossed that everything goes well and we get a great harvest.